Welcome back, everyone. Hope you enjoyed that trip to the casino to figure out which would be the best game for you. Was that fun? Was that exciting getting in there? Hopefully you guys didn't play yet. Still have a lot to teach you. I'm excited to move on to basic strategy. I'm sure you are as well. This is going to be the foundation for everything that an advantage player does. Before you learn card counting, you have to learn basic strategy, and you need to know this cold. Don't worry. It's going to be a lot easier than you probably think. Memorizing basic strategy is not hard at all. I'm going to teach you the logic behind it so you understand how the basic system works. We're going to start off with the microwave version and build on from there. Alright, with that, let's dive in. Basic strategy. First of all, what is basic strategy? Well, basic strategy is quite simply the mathematically correct way to play your hand. Why do you need basic strategy? You need basic strategy, as I said in the beginning, because this is what you're going to be using most of the time. Even as you learn the card counting strategies, more than 80% of the time, you're going to be relying on basic strategy. And with everything else that is going on in your head, all the other things that you're thinking about, the count and all that, and how much your next bet's going to be, and things like that, basic strategy needs to just be something that you don't have to think about, that you just know. And believe me, it will get that way. It will get that way very easily as you move through this. Before I even get into teaching you basic strategy, I want to talk a little bit about superstitions. Now, for those of you who have never played blackjack before or are not even really gamblers, fantastic. You have already an advantage over the other people in the room that have played a lot of blackjack, because anybody that's played a lot of blackjack more than likely has some superstitions. And I want you to abandon all those. Forget everything you know or think you know about blackjack, and just always follow basic strategy until later on in the other modules when I teach you when to go away from basic strategy. But for now, always follow basic strategy. There is no flow to the cards, you may have heard. There's no, if this person takes a card when he shouldn't have, that's going to affect my hand. No. That is not true. In the book, Dark Star Blackjack, which you all should have a copy of, I spent an entire chapter talking about superstitions. I encourage you all to read that, especially anyone who has been a blackjack player and has played blackjack before. Alright, so I'm going to move on now. This is a typical basic strategy chart. Okay? Now, that might look like a lot to try to memorize. Not very many of you will be able to just stare at that chart and memorize it. If you can, fantastic. I couldn't memorize it that way. So, for me and for a lot of people, understanding the logic behind something helps. So, I'm going to take this huge chart here on all these things that you see there and break this down into 5 simple rules, which are generalizations. This is what we call the microwave version. Now, it's called the microwave version because it's a condensed version. And just like when you cook something in the microwave, it's great, it's convenient, it's easy to throw it in there, and bam, 3 minutes later, you've got a full meal, right? Is it as good as a meal that you would cook in your oven, on the stove, that you spend hours making? No, it's not that good. It's not complete. And that's what this is. This is not the complete picture. But this will help you understand the logic behind basic strategy. Some of these rules are not perfect. Some of these rules you're going to change a little bit when you learn the full basic strategy. Okay? So, what are the 5 rules? First of all, hit till you get hard 17 or better versus a dealer 7 or better. So if the dealer is showing you a 7 or more, you're going to keep hitting until you get at least 17 or better. Same as what the dealer does. The dealer is going to do the same thing. There's a reason why the casino tells their dealers to make their hand up to 17 or better. It's just math. That's the correct way to do it. Okay. Now, you're also going to stand on 12 or more anytime the dealer has a 6 or less showing. This is because the dealer has to follow that rule of making her hand up to 17 or better. So, if the dealer has a 6 showing, no matter what card is underneath, the dealer is going to have to hit until she gets 17 or better. There's a chance, therefore, that she might bust. In that case, you're not going to take a chance of busting, so you're not going to hit your 12 or higher, because if you get a 10, you're going to bust. You're going to just wait and see if the dealer busts. The logic behind it is that you're assuming any card that you cannot see, whether it be the dealer hole card or the next card coming out of the shoe, you're assuming that card is a 10. There are more 10s than any other card, because 10, Jack, Queen, and King are all 10s, as you know. So you just assume that if you don't see the card, it's a 10. Makes it easier. Okay, so that's the logic behind these first two rules, and also this third rule, which is that you always double down on 11. That next card coming out is a 10, like you're assuming, you're going to have 21. Fantastic. Nothing beats a 21, right? Alright. Always split aces and 8s. There again, you split those aces, you got two 21s, if you get the two 10s that you're assuming. Pair of 8s, what is that, 16? 16 is about the worst hand, not about the worst hand, it is the worst hand that you could have. So, you want a 16, or do you want to have two 18s? I want to have two 18s. Now, the fifth rule is the one exception to this assumption that any unseen card is a 10, because you are never going to take insurance. So, the dealer shows you an ace, and they ask, do you want insurance? No, just don't take it. Alright. Now you have to determine which basic strategy to use. Now, you've already selected your game. You did that in the last training. You went to the casino, you checked it out, you figured out what's going to work best for you. You now know where you're going to play and what the rules are. Now all you have to do is go to our website, darkstarBlackjack.com, go to the strategy section, and go to the chart section. There you will find something like this. It's going to show you, so first you look across the top, single deck, double deck, 4 decks or more, okay, and then pick out the rules that you have. If you've got a 6-deck game where the dealer hits the soft 17, you are allowed to double after split, and there is no surrender. This is the chart you're going to use. Now, even if they do offer surrender, you're still going to use this chart, because then we have a separate section on our website which will show you all of the times that you surrender, which there's only a few, so that's why we broke it into a separate section, because you can only surrender on your first 2 cards, even if they do allow it. So it's only a few times that you're going to surrender, and we cover that in a separate chart. And those are on the website as well. They're very easy to find. Okay, so now you've got the chart, and you have to start memorizing that chart. Well, how are you going to do that? There's a couple of different ways. Staring at the chart isn't going to work for most people. What will work for a lot of people is to make flashcards. Now on the website, in that same strategy section, you can also see the instructions on how to make flashcards. So we're taking all the work out of this for you. We're showing you how to do everything. This is all stuff that I had to figure out on my own, so you guys are at a tremendous advantage to me because it's all laid out for you. All you have to do is just follow what I'm telling you, and this is going to be so much easier for you than it is for most people that have started out. That's the tremendous advantage that you have by taking the Dark Star Blackjack Awesome Blackjack training. Alright, now, give you an example of what one of those flashcards would look like after you made it, okay? So on the front, you're going to have the player's hand. And on the back, you're going to put the rule. So, this is one example. In the front, you have player hand of 4-4, so a pair of 4s. On the back, you put the rule. So, in this case, the rule is you split against 5 or 6. So if the dealer has a 5 or 6, you're going to split your 4s. Now, I'm showing you this one because you notice I don't have all of the different things that you would do with a pair of 4s. I only say split against the 5 and 6. You're going to take all of the different, and like I said, the website shows you exactly what to put on the back, so you don't even have to figure this out for yourself. But what I've done is I've put all these things into simple statements. Pair of 4s split against the 5 and 6. That's an easy thing to remember. Now, why doesn't it tell you what to do against a 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, or ace? Because you're going to treat it like any other 8. Alright? So, what do you do if you have an 8? Well, you're going to have another flashcard for that, but basically, if you have an 8, you're just going to hit an 8, always. Basically, there's no time in basic strategy where you're going to do anything with an 8 other than hit it. Okay, so that's very simple. Except if the dealer has a 5 or a 6 and that 8 happens to be a pair of 4s, then you're going to split. Okay? Now, another way you can practice is with a phone app or different software programs that are available that will test you against basic strategy. So the computer program or the app knows basic strategy, and you are simply going to play according to basic strategy, and if you make a mistake, it will tell you. There's a number of phone apps out there. The best one, in my opinion, and I get nothing from this company, at least not at this point, but the best one out there is Casino Verite, made by a company called QFit. They make a phone app as well as a computer program. There are other ones out there. You don't have to use QFits, but make sure whichever one you are going to use, take a look at the basic strategy that they're using. Make sure that it is the same one for the game that you're going to be playing. If you have any questions about that, if you're not sure, you can send me an email. I'm here to help you. Just email darkstar@darkstarblackjack.com. I will be happy to take a look at that app or that program and let you know what I think of it. Let you know if it's going to work for you or not. Anytime you have a question about anything, send me an email. I'll be happy to respond to you. I'm here to help you, to guide you on your quest to become a Dark Star Master, a true blackjack professional. This is how you're going to make your living. It's going to be the best fun that you've ever had on a job in your life. I mean, if you enjoy what you do, you never work again, right? This is where you guys are. This is where you're moving. You're going to be on your way to never working again. You're going to literally play in a casino for your living. I mean, how amazing is that? All right, so I'll get back to the training now, but I just can barely contain my excitement for what's going to be happening with you guys. So I hope you're as excited as I am, because you're not going to believe how your lives are going to change. All right, let me show you what the program looks like, the computer version. All right. Okay, so this is the software that I use to practice basic strategy. Later on, when you learn to count, you can use this software to make sure that you're counting properly and playing according to the count properly as well. For now, we're just doing basic strategy. I have this set up not to pay attention to the count, but just to worry about basic strategy. Okay? You have 18, dealer has a 5. Okay? Obviously, you stand. You're going to stand on 18 no matter what the dealer has. The dealer has 21. You lost. Now, this is a good opportunity. You just had 18. Pretty good hand. Dealer had a 5 showing and made her hand, right? And you lost with 18 against a 5. Don't get upset about that. This is one thing that you need to understand right away. You are going to lose more hands than you win. That's fact. You don't have to win most of the hands. You just have to win the right hands. And when you start to learn to count, you'll see that you don't need to win most of the hands in order to make money playing professional blackjack. So don't worry about the losses. You are going to have losses. Okay? And that's what's great about using this software too, because you're going to see all the times that you lose when you maybe weren't expecting to, and that's going to kind of help you. We have 11 now. The dealer has 5, right? So even the microwave version tells you always double down 11. So we just simply double. All right? And let's see what happens. 16 for the dealer. Too many? Perfect. We had 21 either way. So, fantastic. All right. And again, let's see what we get here. Okay. 16. Blackjack. All right. It happens, see? No problem. Try that again. See what we get here. 10. 8. Great. Now, the microwave version would tell you to just hit that because you're only doubling on 11. Once you learn the full basic strategy, you know that you're supposed to double a 10 against an 8. But just to show you how the software works, let's say we didn't know that. Let's say all we knew was the microwave version and we said hit, right? Here's what it's going to do. It's going to tell you right here, double down is the correct play. It's basically telling you made a mistake. And you can look over here, your action hit, it's an action double down. Dealer has 8, player has 10. Okay? And if you want, you can click on this view strategy tables, and it's going to show you, here's what you do on a 10. 2 through 9, you're going to double down. 10 or ace, you're going to not double down, you're just going to hit. Okay? All right. 20. And we're going to stand, of course, right? All right. We won, see, but we could have won double. All right. Let's try one more. 17. Well, doesn't even matter. Well, the dealer has blackjack. But you already knew 17, no matter what, you're going to stand on that. All right. So that was fun, right? See? Even the training, even the practice can be fun. That is what is so great about doing this for a living. All right. Looked like fun, right? Playing on the computer, playing blackjack. That is actually a lot of fun. There's no money being exchanged, but for whatever reason, I get just as excited about the phenomenal wins, even with the play money. Money is not really important. After a while, you know the money's going to come, and you just sort of relax about that. And so having a big win, whether it's in the virtual environment on a computer or at a real casino, either way, it's just as exciting. All right, so when you feel that you have it memorized, you should be able to create a chart that looks just like this one. Don't worry about the color coding, okay? But you should be able to just take a blank piece of paper and draw this out, okay? And it should basically look just like this, okay? You should be able to create this from scratch. All right, so in summary, basic strategy is the mathematically correct way to play your hand. Give up on all those silly superstitions if you have any. If you don't, fantastic. Microwave version, went over that so that you understand the logic behind basic strategy. Remember to use the right basic strategy for the game that you're playing. You went through the game selection process. You figured out what game you're going to be using. So that's the chart that you want to be using. You want to make sure that the software that you're using to practice, if that's how you're going to practice, corresponds to that. Same thing when you make the flashcards. Make sure that the flashcards line up with the correct basic strategy. There's very slight differences on the basic strategy, so I don't want to make this sound more complicated than it is. There's only a couple things that are different depending on the game that you're playing. But you want to have it down perfectly for the game that you're playing. And then when you decide at some point that you want to play a different game, it'll be very easy for you to just make the adjustments to the new basic strategy because it's only going to be one or two situations that are going to be different. All right? Memorize and practice that, and then test yourself. Make sure that you can create that basic strategy chart from scratch. When you've done all that, you're ready to move on to our next lesson, which is going to be the high up to one count. Yeah, finally, I'm going to teach you how to count cards. Can you believe it? I hope you're excited for that. That's where the real fun begins. All right. Thank you all very much. Hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed presenting it to you. This is Dark Star saying, may the count be with you.